Welcome back to another week of Power Rankings. My name is Hunter, and today let's get into how the NFL is shaping following its 14th week of play. There's only 4 games to go for each team in the league. Every bye has happened now, and we now have a complete picture of what the NFL playoff picture looks like going into the final month stretch of the season. Before we get into it, like and subscribe. So much content coming, especially here in the stretch. I'm officially home from college now, so I can post multiple videos a week. So be on the lookout. I will definitely have a video on Thursday. Number 32, I have the Vegas Raiders, who dropped yet another game. Geno Smith got hurt in this one. Kenny Pickett looked solid at the end of the game, but once again, just a closer game with the Broncos, but they cannot get it done. And that's been the story of this season. Close games, but they cannot get it done. And it's a complete fault for the Raiders, who beat the eventual number one team on this list in week one, but now have fallen all the way to 32 by this point in the season. Number 31, I have the Tennessee Titans. Had to move them up a spot for the big win. Just getting Cam Ward the experience, which is making plays late in the game, was huge. Just the Titans were playing just solid football for the first time in a long time this season, and that's what you want to see if you're a Tennessee Titans fan. Number 30, the Giants were on bye. Not much to say. They currently possess the number one overall pick, so if you're a Giants fan, you probably want them to lose out and get the number one overall pick so they can add that final piece to the puzzle for this team to be competitive next year. Number 29, I have the Jets, where their quarterback that came in on ESPN Fantasy was listed as unknown player for a while, which really shows that this team has gone down to new lows, especially this week going to Brady Cook, kind of getting knocked out of that Dolphins game in the first quarter, where the Jets just cannot get things done on offense. It's been the story of their season, and I'm intrigued to see where they go in the 2026 draft. Number 28, Cleveland. Shador Sanders was excellent in this game, but they take him out on the 2 point conversion. That's the story of the game because they take him out on the biggest play of the game and they make a mistake. And that's what you don't want to see if you're Cleveland, but you got the game that you wanted out of Shador. He has the starting role for the final 4 games of the season. Let's see if he can prove that he deserves to be Cleveland's starter in week 1 of 2026. Number 27, I have the New Orleans Saints. They get the win. Tyler Shaw had his best game as a pro, just making plays on the ground and beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's the second time this season where the Saints have beaten an NFC South contender. They beat the Panthers a couple weeks ago. They beat the Bucks here, and now have a chance to spoil the Panthers again this upcoming week. Just great play out of the Saints, and just being that NFC South spoiler is their role at this point in the season. Number 26, I have the Arizona Cardinals, who I only moved them up a spot because there was some shifting, but just get destroyed. Michael Wilson, though, has emerged as their wide receiver one in Marvin Harrison's absence, which is really good if you are a Cardinals fan. That was a guy that was expected to take a big step this year, and he has taken it with the increased role, and he's getting over 10 receptions a game. He's doing a great job, but the Cardinals just continue to lose, and they're also a very intriguing team in this upcoming offseason. Number 25, I have the Atlanta Falcons, who lose yet again this week, keeping it close in the first half, but then just get dominated in the second half, just turning over the ball, allowing kick returns, just getting dominated in all 3 phases of the game. And the Falcons are officially eliminated from the playoffs, and another team with lots of question marks. Number 24, I have the Washington Commanders. Shutout 31-0. Jaden Daniels leaves with an injury. Zach Ertz with potentially a career-ending injury as he's getting to this point in his career. And that was just the worst day of the season for the Commanders, who couldn't get anything going. And this team is a team that is looking forward to 2026. With all the potential they stirred up in 2024, they just want to make it to next year with the least amount of injury. Number 23, I have the Bengals, where they had an opportunity to jump back into that playoff race by picking up a second straight win in a weak AFC North. They were playing the Bills this week, and Joe Burrow throws 2 late picks, and that's been the story for the Bengals most of the season. Things just don't go their way in the fourth quarter, and that's even happening with Joe Burrow now. Unfortunate, but the Bengals fall to 4-9, and their path to the playoffs is very slim at this point. Number 22, I have the Minnesota Vikings. That was the best game from J.J. McCarthy in his career as just efficient football, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, not turning over the ball, and a 31 to nothing win is exactly what you want to see out of the Vikings franchise supposed quarterback. Number 21, I have the Miami Dolphins. They played a not so great Jets team and picked up the win. They rested Devon Achane for pretty much the final 3 quarters of this game and go into their game against Pittsburgh on Monday night with lots at stake if they want to jump back into this AFC playoff race. But this is a Miami team that has now won 4 games in a row and they have not lost in a month. And a team that I don't know if you want to play right now because they've won 4 games in a row. Number 20, Kansas City. Is this the end? Because there's a very good chance that it is. And Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice were just dropping balls all over the place. Patrick Mahomes is making poor decisions. Their defense kept them in this game, but Kansas City looks like a completely different team. They look like a shell of themselves and now need to run the table to make the playoffs. And I'm not sure if Kansas City has the talent on offense that they've had in years past to win 4 games in a row. And that is a huge problem. Kansas City is definitely at risk of missing the postseason for the first time in a decade. Number 19, I have the Baltimore Ravens, who they are also a team that is in a decent amount of trouble. They're only a game back, but now do not have the tiebreaker on Pittsburgh. And Baltimore does not play an easy game for the remainder of the season. They have Cincinnati, New England, Green Bay, and then Pittsburgh again. Really need to win at least 2 or 3 of those games to get into the playoffs and win the AFC North. And the Ravens offensively, Lamar just is not the same quarterback he was last year. And it's shown in the past few games. And they let Aaron Rodgers have his best game in a long time. So just issues all over the place. Their offensive line has not been great either. In Baltimore, lots of mistakes and at risk of missing the postseason. Number 18, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who lose to the New Orleans Saints in a bad game from them. When I say bad, it was pretty bad. And Baker, one of his weaker games as a Buccaneer, offensively, just getting stopped on almost every fourth down in this game. They just were not making clutch plays when it mattered. And then they let Tyler Shaw take over on the ground. And that's the difference in this game. He had a couple long rushes that led to touchdowns. And Tampa Bay loses and is now in an exact tie with Carolina for the top of the AFC or the NFC South. Number 17, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers picking up a big win. Aaron Rodgers with his first rushing touchdown in 3 years. He had a lot of deep passes in this game. DK Metcalf was excellent, and then he ended up going to the hospital later in the day with stomach pains. We'll see if he can play in week number 15. But Pittsburgh, that is their biggest win of the year. Because you beat Baltimore, you take the 1 game lead in the AFC North, and your path to the playoffs is that division. And with Miami, Detroit, Cleveland, and Baltimore left, those are winnable games. Pittsburgh can get to the playoffs. They just need to get it done. And this past week was a big step towards that. Number 16, Carolina. Not much to say other than they need to get the wins when it matters here. They're tied for division lead. They come off the bye. New Orleans is a game they lost last time. This is a must win this time because New Orleans, they're 3-10. This is a game that Carolina should win, and we will see if they will. Number 15, I have the Dallas Cowboys, who I didn't drop them any because other teams around them also lost. But Dallas needs to run the table, and they have the schedule to do so. I think Dallas is in a good position. They've looked great on offense. And now with Philadelphia collapsing, which I'm going to get to in just a few spots, Dallas making the playoffs is a lot easier through the NFC East than it is the wild card. And Dallas is just going to need to win their games to get in. Number 14, the Indianapolis Colts. And this is a team making lots of headlines. You lose Daniel Jones for the season. Riley Leonard gets hurt late in that game. You get destroyed by the Jaguars. You drop out of a playoff spot. And what do? They go to 44-year-old literal grandfather, Philip Rivers, in the key moment of their season where you lose your franchise quarterback. You go to a 44-year-old. We will see how it works, but this is the most intriguing team in the league. They play Seattle, San Francisco, Jacksonville, and Houston. Really a hard schedule, but 2 or 3 wins will get them into the postseason. and Indy needs to pick up those wins, and we will see how Philip Rivers takes over and potentially leads his team on a miracle run to the playoffs. And the Colts, they've been sliding as recently. They've lost every game since coming back from their bye, and something that you do not want to see if you're a Colts fan, but Philip Rivers potentially the day saver for the Colts. Number 13, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I dropped them 5 spots because I think that was a game that exemplified what is wrong with this Eagles team. The last time they went to the Super Bowl before last year, they suffered the same exact thing. They started off too strong, ran out of gas, lost in the first round. And we are seeing the exact same thing with the 2025 Eagles. Offensively, they're just struggling. 5 turnovers from Jalen Hurts. That is terrible. And defensively, lots of sacks. They kept their offense in the game. But what happens in overtime? Jalen Hurts throws an interception. Jalen Hurts has been the problem these past few weeks, and he's going to need to step it up. Like the Super Bowl winning quarterback he proved to be last year, if the Eagles want to maintain this division lead that they are currently choking away. Number 12, I have the San Francisco 49ers sitting at 9-4, coming off their bye. Really just need to win a couple more games to get into the postseason, but still technically alive in the divisional race. But the Niners sitting in a very good position coming into the last month of the season. Number 11, the LA Chargers. Justin Herbert played through a broken hand. He was getting hit all over the place. He got sacked, I think, 8 times in this game. The Chargers still win the game. That shows how good their defense was in this game, forcing 5 turnovers. The Chargers are a team that I have not had high praise on for most of this season. And you could tell they're 9-4, but they're not even in my top 10. And they were number 14 last week. But that was a game that proved to me that this Chargers team can contend. They have the defense to do so. That's this AFC style this year. Defensive teams are the better teams. And the Chargers are proving that they're one of those teams by beating Philadelphia on Monday night. Number 10, I have the Houston Texans, who jump up 3 spots into my top 10. Speaking of defensive teams, this is the best defense in the NFL, and they proved it on Sunday night against the Chiefs. Forcing turnover after turnover, stop after stop. This Texans defense is relentless. And if their offense picks it up, CJ Stroud was a little weak in this game, but if he's able to have a good day, like he's shown in the past, this Texans team is a team that nobody, and when I mean nobody, nobody in the AFC wants to play come playoff time. And they've now won 5 in a row. They're one of the better teams in the league as of late. Number 9, I have Detroit picking up a big win, potentially a season saver over the Dallas Cowboys. Jahmyr Gibbs ran all over the Cowboys with another insane game from him, and the offense just kept it going. But once again, defensive concerns for the Lions. They suffered another big injury with Brian Branch going down, and this defense is very, very injured. But can the Lions get over the line? It starts this Sunday against the Rams. Can they pick up that big win to pretty much cement themselves as a contender once again? Because last Thursday was a big step towards that. Number 8, I have the Chicago Bears. They might have lost, but still just an incredible game from them. Caleb Williams and his ability to throw on the run really showed for pretty much all of that game, except his final throw where he kind of just underthrew it a bit, and that's the difference in this game. Just that one play where the Bears could have went down the field, scored a touchdown, tied it, and then potentially went for 2 or won it in overtime. They just blow it on the last play. And it's the first time they've done that this season. They've won a lot of close games, but Chicago is a team that shouldn't be too mad about their loss. They go into this week against Cleveland and then get to play the Packers again. So the Bears are still in a good spot, potentially in the division. You just have to beat the Packers in week 16. Number 7, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just another dominant win against another AFC contender. It's just what the Jaguars have been doing as of late, just beating up on teams that are either not very good or good. They're just a consistent football team right now. And they play in all 3 phases. And Jacksonville has been very complete these past few weeks. Jacoby Myers has been a perfect fit. They were able to get back Brian Thomas Jr. That offense looked amazing on Sunday. And if Jacksonville can keep it up in their bigger games coming up, they have Indy again, they have Denver coming up. Jacksonville is in a good spot to potentially be a high seed in the AFC. and to maintain this AFC South lead and win the division and have a home game in Jacksonville. Number 6, I have the Buffalo Bills. 2 words, Josh Allen. Josh Allen was incredible in this game, just on the ground, through the air. This was his best game of the year. And Buffalo picks up a big win over Cincinnati. But it wasn't all Josh Allen. Their defense picked off Joe Burrow 2 throws in a row, with Christian Benford returning it for a touchdown. And Buffalo sitting pretty at 9-4. They go into their game against New England with lots on the line to potentially get back in the divisional race, and it starts by beating the Patriots on Sunday, something they did not do earlier in the season. Number 5, I have the Green Bay Packers, just continuing to prove each and every week that they're playing their best football at this time of the year. Micah Parsons had 8 pressures and was just making Caleb Williams have to get out of the pocket. And offensively, Christian Watson just dynamic as a pass catcher, and Jordan Love, despite the early interception, looked really really good. And the Packers are now a top 5 team in the league, I believe, and now the second seed in the NFC, the leader of the NFC North. They have tough games coming up, but they can keep it going. This team has been playing so well this past month, and they've shown by winning 4 in a row. Number 4, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Not much to talk about other than just complete domination in the second half. Their offense once again showed concerns in the first half, but when they're able to get JSN going, this Seahawks offense is unstoppable. And that is the key to their offense. Jackson Smith-Njigba is just one of the most unstoppable receivers in the league, and he showed that in the second half, just exploding. And the Seahawks defense is just relentless. And this is the most complete Seahawks team in a long time, and it's shown by their complete dominations the past few weeks. Number 3, I have the Denver Broncos, sitting at 11-2, a win where they looked pretty solid against the Raiders. Really, just some late points made it look like it was close, but Denver just continues to get the job done. They have a big test against Green Bay this week, where you need to keep winning to stay in control of the number 1 seed in the AFC, and Denver would be in a great position if they were to win and New England was to lose. But we will see what happens. Denver, though, just getting the job done offensively and defensively. Number 2, I have the Los Angeles Rams, who sit at 10-3, picking up another win where Puka was amazing, Matthew Stafford was amazing. That entire offense was just efficient, and that's been almost every game this year where they're just able to put points on the board, and the defense really helped this game not really be close, and the Rams just continue to look like a very very complete team and are now back to the number 1 seed in the NFC. Number 1, I have the New England Patriots. They were on bye. Not much to say other than New England has to keep winning if they want that 1 seed in the AFC. And it starts with this Sunday against the Bills, where they can basically put the division away. And New England could end Buffalo's reign and get back to the time of Patriots winning the AFC East. Drake May is going to come out of this bye playing well, because that's just what he's done this season. And New England is just a really strong contender. They play complete football. They're very well coached. Let's see what they can do over the last 4 weeks of the season. But that's going to do it for this week's Power Rankings. Let me know if you disagree with any of my placements down below, and I will see you in the next video.